Hey, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Liz, business coach for women of color, and today we're going to have an honest conversation about pricing. Pricing your services or your coaching packages with collective liberation in mind. And the important part of collective liberation that is often missed is that your liberation is also included in collective liberation. So let's get started. So the first and obvious issue is that when you're pricing your services, you don't want to take advantage of your community. Like, that is the main fear here. And what often comes up for my clients is that they've seen outlandish prices that are out there on the interwebs of people charging services that would help so many more people if they charged less for them. And there is truth to that. And at the same time, we do not want to use what other people are doing out there on the internet to dictate how we're able to build sustainable businesses that can actually take care of ourselves and our families. Like, if we're looking to create a business that will actually liberate us from 9-to-5 jobs and help us to be able to do the things that we need to do so that we can keep serving our communities, then we're going to have to make sure that we're charging sustainable prices. If minimum wage isn't cutting it, then don't give yourself a minimum wage in your business. So let's think about our first experience with associating a dollar value to our actual service, to our actual labor. And that first experience is often through a 9-to-5 job where you're either making minimum wage, or even if you're in a professional career and you're making a bit more than that, you're still not making nearly as much money as, say, the CEO or the president of the company. What I like to remind people is that your first experience with assigning a dollar value to your hourly work is incredibly undervalued, because when the CEOs and the CFOs of this world decide to assign your salary to you, they're not thinking about, oh, what does this specific person bring to the table? What are their unique skills and experiences and education that should determine a fair rate for them to be charged? No. The main thing they're thinking about is, how can I maximize the profit in my income and expense report? They're trying to figure out how can they basically take advantage of you so that they can save a few more pennies inside of their own pockets. That is what they're thinking about when they're giving you your hourly rate. And in addition to that, as women of color, we are still making like 65 cents to the dollar. So not only do we have capitalism severely taking advantage of everybody on the planet, but we also have to deal with racism and patriarchy on top of that, that's taking advantage of us even more. So what I like to tell my clients, to make sure that we're really thinking honestly in terms of sustainable pricing, is make sure that an hour of your time and your effort at least costs the same as a week's worth of groceries. Like, think about it from that perspective. Many of us are charging so little for just an hour of our time in our businesses that we're even making less than minimum wage. Never mind helping ourselves, helping our communities, never mind thriving. Like, we're even making less than minimum wage in our own businesses. That is not sustainable. And I know that assigning a dollar value to your work can be very, very tricky because of the system that we're in. Like, we want to create impact. We do not want to cause harm. But if we're harming ourselves in the process, we're not able to sustainably create the impact we want to see. Because remember, business is a marathon. It is not a sprint, right? So make sure that you're charging at least the cost of a week's worth of groceries for your services. Like, that has been a very helpful reframe for my clients to get them comfortable with charging higher than what their 9-to-5 jobs would have originally given them for an hour's worth of work. And if we're really talking about like the truly impactful work that we want to see, like the healing we want to see in our communities, like the knowledge that we want to see in our communities, like if we're really being honest with the type of impact that we're providing, it is definitely worth at least a week's worth of groceries. 100%. Like, even if money is still making you feel a little bit uncomfortable, like, think about it. Like, what would feel better to you or feel more in alignment after you do an hour of whatever it is that you do, after you pour an hour of your time and energy and your knowledge into someone that you're trying to help, if they hand you a bag of groceries afterwards or 3 apples? Like, what would feel more right and in alignment? And it should not be just the CEOs of these 9 to 5 jobs in these big huge companies that are able to get a week's worth of groceries off of an hour of their work. And if we're being honest, what work are they actually doing to begin with? They don't do much in most companies. So really start thinking about sustainable pricing in terms of, what I'm charging. Is this really going to sustain me over the long term? Like, will this really actually help me in my life and liberate me so that I can continue to do the work that I love? It's not selfish. It's about taking care of yourself. And as women of color, we're often taught to sacrifice ourselves for the betterment of others, but that is not our job. It is not our job to sacrifice ourselves and to harm ourselves to help others. We have to put our own oxygen masks on so that we can actually be of use and help everyone else. Okay, another important component of this conversation is understanding the value of what it is that we do already. So as a service-based provider, as a coach, like an hour of your effort, like in session with a client, listening to them, being present with them, answering the probing questions that really helps them to get to the root issue of, what issues they're dealing with, that is incredibly, incredibly valuable. And in the society, we're often taught that there's only value attached to our work if we're actually physically doing labor for someone. Like, if we're physically in the weeds of their business, like working on stuff. And that's not true. There is so much power in just our conversation, like in just being able to provide clarity and providing awareness. Like, just providing awareness alone can literally change the trajectory of somebody else's entire life. Like, that alone is huge and 100% worth a week's worth of groceries. Like, you do not have to be physically laboring for someone in order for your time and your talent and your skills and your expertise to be of value. Like, that's really work that I do love to do with my clients, is helping them to detach from the idea that their services are only worth the prices they want to charge if they are literally burning themselves out with every single client. Like, that does not serve the client, that doesn't serve you, and it does not then serve the rest of the community that you're trying to serve. So really think about serving and serving more and serving freely and deeply without actually physically burning yourself out. Like, where can you serve your clients more, your community more, with your ideas, with just what's in your mind? And last but not least, let's talk about where beta pricing fits into all this. So I love the concept of beta pricing, beta programs and services. I took on free beta clients myself when I was first starting out in coaching. Like, I love this and I feel like there's nothing wrong with this. The problem is when the beta programs extend for too long. When the beta pricing extends for far too long. Like, beta programs and pricing are meant to serve a purpose. Like, build parameters around this. The intention of this is really exploratory for you. It's an opportunity for you to build awareness about, what you bring to the table and what your skills are. It's not meant to keep you there. So really, if you're using the idea of beta programs in a way that actually serves you, then you're really being consciously aware of your energy during this time. Like, do you feel like the work that you're doing is burning you out? Like, that means it's a good opportunity to adjust that for your normal programs and normal pricing? Like, do you feel like the pricing that you received is not a good energy match for what it is that you're providing? Like, that's a signal that it's time to change. So beta pricing can be very helpful, especially when you're brand spanking new and you're still easing into the idea of charging like an actual sustainable price for the services that you provide. It can be a nice way to dip your toe in the water and really start to feel into something that feels good to you, because business is all about experimentation, right? You get to do it your way. It's literally your world, and you won't know what you like or what you don't like until you try. So that is how beta pricing can help you to at least get started and start building that initial awareness. But don't stay in it for too long. And before you even begin the beta programs and the beta pricing, ask yourself, what pieces of evidence are you looking for to show you that you're on the right path, to show you that you're providing the impact that you'd like to provide. You have to start building this evidence actively because you're not used to doing it, because you're used to thinking that your coaching program and your services aren't worth the price. You're used to undercharging. You're used to burning yourself out with every client. So ask yourself, what pieces of evidence would you like to start collecting that can help to reinforce where you'd like to go and how you'd actually like to do business your way? Let me know if you found this video helpful. Let me know in the comments below if you have any questions about how to create sustainable pricing in a way that also connects to collective liberation. Find me on Instagram at The Other Liz Walker. There I'm providing even more tips and strategies on how to do business your way, especially as you're looking to create your next 1K and beyond, and while you're providing major impact to your community. And I do have one-on-one spots open for coaching. If you are interested, book an interest call using the link in the description box below, and we'll help you make sure that you're actually creating a business that is sustainable and that you're able to do it your way without the burnout, providing impact, and charging sustainable prices. We'll get you to your income goal 1K at a time. Take care.